The tourist website for Wee Jasper describes it as a picturesque village nestled at the foothills of the Brindabella Ranges. It sits beside the Goodra-Digby River and the backwaters of Burrinjuck Dam. But as a wise man once said, you can't eat scenery. Times in Wee Jasper have always been tough, but as a new history outlines, generations have stayed on and newcomers keep arriving. Adam Shirley produced this report.
We weren't actually searching for Wee Jasper. We just saw this place in a shop window, advertised in a shop window, came here, fell in love with it instantly, and it's just turned out to be much, much better than we ever expected would be.
What's great about living here is it is so beautiful. There's not a day goes by that you don't look around and you just say, wow.
Everyone knows everyone and everyone knows what you're doing and things like that, but yeah, it's just a nice place to be.
My name's Jennifer Barton. My husband and I bought this property 5 years ago. It's called Oakey Creek. We bought it as a retirement project. Well, I started off just wanting to know the story of this slab hut. I thought it would probably date from the 1800s, but it actually was built in 1937. I just thought I'd do that, the history of this slab hut, and in order to do that I had to talk to some older people in the district and who've now moved from the district, and the stories that unfolded were just so wonderful that I thought I've got to record this. And so it just grew and grew and grew. I didn't set out to write a book at all. Probably the biggest challenge was isolation. I don't think there were many women here probably until the 1850s, 60s. Initially men came out, drove their stock out here and then squatted on a piece of land and took out a licence to depasture. They'd make a claim by putting notches in trees, but they all got by somehow. It was mostly farm work, but then you got some unusual things, eucalyptus oil extraction, the cockatoo pet trade was lucrative for a while. So they were very resourceful, very resilient people. Health issues would have been very difficult. When children got sick, a little baby died from dehydration in the cottage just down there. Injuries, but the illnesses that they didn't know how to treat or they couldn't get help to treat. And also I think the term domestic duties that we might write on the census form now had a very different meaning in those days. So everything took a long time and was hard on the hands. You had a fuel stove going all the time, winter and summer. So the area wasn't connected to electricity till 1958.
Yeah, Michael CAREY. I was born here, or Yass Hospital, and moved back here to the valley, probably a couple of days old. Grew up here since. I think I'm about a fifth generation. My great-grandfather, my grandfather, my father, they were all born and grew up here. Well, last Saturday I got re-elected again. I don't know what term I'm into this time, as president of the local community association. I've been president of the local P&C for I don't know how many years. Vice president and senior deputy captain of the local fire brigade. I've lived and worked away various times, went to boarding school down near towards Sydney. Lived and worked in Canberra at times, Sydney at times, interstate at times. But Wee Jasper's always been home, and I think there'll be this little corner here somewhere under a tree. That's where I'll be forever one day.
Well, I'm Ian CATHLES. Though I was born in England, I'd actually moved here in 1948, and I keep telling people I'm nearly a local. I've only been here 63 years, but there aren't many people who have been here longer than me. So, but we farm sheep and goats and and run accommodation out here at Wee Jasper. My mum and dad raised a family of 4 children, and still quite a number of them here in the district, and certainly a lot of grandchildren arriving around the district now. So yeah, we've been a part of this community for a long while. It's been a great journey. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, I don't think.
Moved here just over 30 years ago. I'm besotted by the scenery then and now. Love it. It is very isolated, and for me that is an advantage. I love the isolation. We're actually only an hour and a half from Canberra. However, when you get here with mountains on both sides, it's as though the rest of the world doesn't exist.
My name's Kate Howarth. I've been living here for 5 years with my husband Steve and our 2 children, and we're lucky enough to live in what we think is one of the most beautiful places in the area. Mickalong Creek and Swinging Bridge here on the Goodra-Digby River were very popular and still are very popular trout fishing spots, and a lot of people used to come down trout fishing, and then the opportunity arose to build these shacks in the 30s and 40s. And again, some of those are still in the same families that they were when they were first built. One shack has been in the same family for 4 generations, so they're bringing the great-great-grandchildren of the fellow who built the shack to Swinging Bridge and sharing the same experiences with them. I think that generally people who live here have a certain resilience in their personality. They need to be very adaptable, and they need to be able to deal with different situations. In our role with the camping grounds that we look after, we deal with everything from cars stuck in ditches to people who forgot to bring their tent poles, and then the next week there might be a bushfire or a flood even.
Up the Tumut Road.
There are 3 trucks going up, have we?
No, Jeff and Suzanne have been evacuated already.
Basically for a 5 to 6 week period I did nothing but, basically fight fires. You know, it was time consuming, it was heartbreaking, but you know, it was good to see the support of everyone that came from outside. Some people, you know, were sort of semi-local from Yass, ones from down the coast, from Sydney Way, Victoria. It was good, the feeling that people came to help and things like that. No sooner had the fire gone out than we got about a thunderstorm that gave us about 3 inches of rain overnight, and that washed whatever was left of the bush into the river, or killed a lot of fish, buggered up a lot of dams and this and that. But you know, something you grin and bear it, and life goes on.
The limestone in Wee Jasper runs right along the valley. The cave has been formed by rainwater coming down through cracks and gradually eating the limestone. Right? Now, this cave is a little different to some of the common caves you would go to, such as Jenolan perhaps, and they have been formed by a river running through the cave and cutting down. Right? But this cave formed underwater. And so it means that the tunnels stayed full of water, they got bigger and bigger like this, so we ended up with terrific shapes. And then when all these shapes started to join up, we've ended up with a cave which is really carved. And that is the really magic thing about this place. And then of course we've got fabulous acoustics, so if you're a singer, you can try that out. We do concerts as a result of that. And because it's such a beautiful place, we also do weddings here. Well, I find that people who, for starters, don't feel particularly comfortable in a cave, they've regarded it as an alien environment, when they come down here, they get the time to start to take it in, right? And because it's such a beautiful place, it starts it's just infused somehow.
Somebody told me before I retired, what you need in retirement is a passion to keep your spirit up, to keep your brain active, to keep you excited about life. And that's what it's become for both of us. for different reasons. But if I travel overseas, I'm just counting the days until I can come back here. That's how special it is.
I suppose you just become saturated. Yeah.
I mean, the valley has a lovely balance to it. You've got the lake floor, you've got undulating country, you've got the mountains, and so when you drive down the road into Wee Jasper and you look down the valley from one of those lookouts, and it's just, you've got this magnificent scenery in front of you. It's just a balance which is, well, I suppose to everyone who lives here, is perfection.
What is it? It's a seed. Every year on our week off that we get, we think, well, where can we go that we can experience what we can experience here to the level that we do here, and we just have never found anywhere that is as beautiful, is as welcoming, and is as relaxed, and still have that convenience of being able to go to town and get what you need and things like that.
Walk outside to check the rain gauge or do something and not bother putting any clothes on, and you're not worried about someone hanging over the side fence looking at you. Though I have scared a few people as I drive past on the road, where I've walked out the front and all of a sudden the vehicle's driven past and think, oh well, if they're looking, that's good luck to them. And yeah, I don't know, I probably could be happy living elsewhere, but it'd have to be a hell of a good spot.